How would you cope if you had been shrunk to 10% of your size? I don't think I'd cope very well. I'm Jack, this is Red Book Joy, and I want to talk to you about The Expanded Earth by Mikey Please. So this is Mikey Please's debut fiction book for adults, and it is a science fiction dystopian book about something horrific happening to humanity and everyone being shrunken down to 10% of their size. I want to show you how beautiful this book is. Now, it's illustrated, and this is a special edition with the amazing sprayed edges, and inside it is illustrated throughout with pictures at the end of every chapter. So pictures like this, because this is not Mikey Please's first book. It's his first book for grown-ups, but Mikey Please released last year his first book, The Cafe at the Edge of the Woods. And Mikey Please is an illustrator with, well, was, I don't know if he still is, an illustrator with Aardman Studios, who produce Wallace and Gromit and things like that. They produce many things, but he's worked for them for a number of big projects. And this was his debut children's picture book, and it's just so lovely and sweet. And I'm going to put a review out of this as well. I keep saying this, it will come out, but I want to do it justice and I want to talk about it at length, so that's why it's taking a while. Yes, so this is his debut children's book, which won the Waterstones Children's Book Prize, and I picked it up because it's been catching my eye in Waterstone for some time. Then it won the prize and I was like, I have to get it now, and so I discovered that he had this book. So this is a stunning edition. I'm going to put it behind me while I talk just because it's quite heavy to hold up, but I want to just say I finished reading it a couple of weeks ago and I really enjoyed it. It's the first in, I believe it's going to be a trilogy about the people of Earth after they've been shrunk to 10th the size. So if you were 6 foot tall, you've gone to, if you've gone from 180 centimeters to 18 centimeters basically. So everyone's gone really tiny. Some people survived the kind of descent, as they start to call it, and some people didn't. And the reason they didn't is because even though the people are shrinking down, all of they might have things like for instance, I have lots of fillings, I have a veneer, and they might have, various things like pins or whatever in their bones, and they don't survive that because those things don't shrink. So we have this kind of bit of a gross body horror situation going on because those things don't shrink down, and neither do the fluids that are in your body. So basically everyone kind of just all the fluids in the body jets out as people start to shrink down, and they're left in these gross piles of just all the bodily fluids plus just piles of clothes lying everywhere. So this book is not like, I think I heard an interview with him where he says this is not The Borrowers. If you're expecting The Borrowers, you're going to be, really shocked when you read it. It's basically, it's the horror of what would happen if that happened to everybody, and quite a lot of people would not survive it because we've all got, especially as adults, if you're wearing contact lenses, you wouldn't survive, that kind of thing. So the people that do survive, we follow a number of them as they come together and they try to navigate their way around the situation after it's just happened. So a number of people are on a campsite and they sort of try to band together and make a plan to get a number of children that are with them home. And it goes on from there, and they encounter dogs and animals and nature, and some people in the story have not retained their sense of humanity. And so really at heart the book is, like most dystopian fiction, about our society and humanity and what it means to be human, and our relationship with nature as well, and how that is shaped by the size that we are and the way that our society works, and if society crumbles as we know it, how that would affect us but also the world and nature around us. And so they're on this epic journey to try and get to a certain point, and the main character Giles is trying to get home to his children because he knows there was a message left on his mobile phone, and then they'd said they'd left a message on his answer phone at home as well. So he wants to get back home. The book was really interesting and compelling. There are chapters at the end of each section which talk about the effects of this shrinking down on just random people around the world in different situations. So for example, one of the chapters was really interesting about a prison island in Asia somewhere. I can't remember exactly which country it was supposed to be in, but the guards and the prisoners shrink down, and then what happens to them as a result, and what happens to the island, and the like over time. So there are sort of mini chapters where we get a glimpse, like we zoom out and we see what's happened elsewhere on the Earth, or even not just on the Earth, but the space station and things like that. So it's really, really fascinating, those chapters, because we get the image of a wider, you know, what's happened to the wider world. And we also get glimpses of the fact that this is going to be something that is ongoing, because we're watching these people cope with the incident as it happens, but also we're getting glimpses of society in the future, and we are then also given flashbacks to what happened that led up to this event, and the flashbacks kind of explain what's happened and why, and they converge at a point. And yeah, it's really good because the book finishes on a cliffhanger. So I really am looking forward to reading the next one. If you like that kind of dystopian fiction, if you don't mind a bit of like gross, it's not, you know, I've read worse in terms of like body horror kind of stuff, but it is a little bit gross, and there are some really tough scenes in it, but overall I thought it was highly imaginative, and I really enjoy reading about tiny things. I think we all do. I think most of us have had an obsession with tiny things when we're younger, and I think Mikey Please's obsession from when he was younger has just translated into adult life, and he's had this book at the end. He sort of talked about how he's just had this idea, wanting to write a book like this all his life, from like playing games in the garden when he was younger with figurines, which we've all done when we were younger, and I had very visceral memories of that when I was reading his author's note. The one things I suppose that didn't necessarily work for me were some of the reactions from the characters at this event happening, and the way they behave towards each other in terms of just the dialogue and the way they talked. Some of them didn't seem like, you know, hugely freaking out the way that I would do, and so I found some parts of that a little bit hard to suspend my disbelief for. But other than that, the story was so good and compelling. I really enjoyed it. So hopefully it'll be something you like as well. If you like the sound of it, I also have a 5% discount code for the online books retailer, Books Please, and you will get 5% off, and I will get a small percentage of the costs at no extra charge to you. It all helps to run the channel, but I want to be transparent about that. So if you want to get a copy of the book, yeah, go ahead and use that if you want to, or not, or borrow it from the library, whatever it may be. But I don't think this is a book that's had a huge lot of coverage or release. I haven't seen a huge number of reviews out for it, and so I wanted to just put my review out and support it because I thought it was a great idea. And I think I really enjoyed just reading the physical copy with the illustrations as well. It just delighted me. One thing I love about reading middle grade books is because so much thought and care goes into how they're presented, and they're always so beautifully presented with the illustrations and the cover art, and so this kind of felt like that to me. So yeah, let me know in the comments, does it sound like something you'd be interested in reading? Like I said, it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a debut novel, and I'm really looking forward to reading more from this author and about these characters and about that world. If you've never been here before and you like this kind of review, maybe consider subscribing, and hopefully I will see you again here soon. Bye.